Hi, this is Becca coming to you with a women-centric ZRL Recon for week 2 of season 17, which is Rising Empire for the ABs and Everything Bagel for the CDs. We're going to start with Rising Empire and Everything Bagels on the back of this one. So the TLDR for these points races is see if you can get 6 riders. That's the most important thing. There's lots of points available for each segment, and so the more people you have, the more likely you're going to do well. First across the line is the majority of the points. So unless your division is super tight, just focus on keeping riders in the fastest group possible rather than trying to game the system for fastest through the segment, which is FTS. Have a plan for all your riders, whether they think they're going to get dropped on the climbs or whether they think they're going to get away, as to whether they'll try to keep pushing on the descents or rest and try to stay with a big group. With your random power-up allocations, just make sure where you would use each of them. So as we go to look at the course notes, you can see that you'll either get a feather, an arrow, or an anvil. And obviously the anvil you only want to use on the downhill. The feather you want to save for the steep ascents. So you just have to figure out a plan. So the course notes this week are a little smushed because it's just 2 laps of the same course. And I really only put selection points on here. You could write about New York forever because it's very lumpy bumpy. But the major ones I believe I captured on here, which are the Glass Road ramp, which is a descent leading into the Glass Road ramp. So you get a lot of speed and then you go up. So again, that's kind of a pinch point. You have a couple steep bumps on the Glass Road leading up to the KOM, and then the first KOM starts at 8.5. That first KOM is the only time that you'll have probably the majority of the group together, I would guess. And it's 1.4 kilometers with an average grade of 6.3%, where there's a super steep segment, and then there's a flattening out, and then a super steep segment again, and then a flattening out, and then one more at the end. So just know how you're going to handle it. High wattage riders, again, on the flats, just need to keep their power up if they can. They're going to make up ground if they keep doing that. And the climbers are obviously going to want to keep pushing all the way through the banner. The descent is super tuckable. So again, that goes to just having a plan. Immediately after that KOM, you go downhill, and then you have the New York Sprint Reverse, which is super painful. Again, these segments are all FAL down to the last rider and FTS just for the top riders. So focus on first across the line if you can. And after that Sprint Reverse, you do have a couple kilometers of rest, I guess you could call it. Then you start again on the KOM Reverse. And then you go back down, you go to the finish line, you pick up another power up, and then you get to do it all over again. And that's going to be super painful. So good luck to everybody. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. And there's a sped up Recon starting now. If you want the CD Recon, then just fast forward through this all. So good luck. Have fun. Bye. Hi there. You have Becca back again with a ZRL Recon for women from the FCC. This is the Everything Bagel points race on week 2. The TLDR is as for the ABs. Fill your team if you can. First across the line is the majority of the points, so the more people you have in the race, the more likelihood you will do well. Unless your division's super tight, I would focus on first across the line and not fastest through the segment, because the first across the line points go all the way down. And if any rider isn't sure that they'll be able to make it either up the climbs, or if they think they're going to break away on the climbs, just have a conversation and talk about it with your team before the race so everyone knows what they're going to do. Same with the power-ups. It's a random allocation, so just have them look at the course and decide their plan. It'll likely take 63 minutes at 3 watts a kilo, so a little less probably for C's and a little, hopefully less than 80 minutes for the D's. So it's going to be a long race. Here are the course notes, and I pretty much just put in pinch points because you could talk forever about New York. So you will have a power up for the first KOM, which comes very quickly at 2.9 kilometers. But before you hit it, you have to climb up to the glass road. It's not part of the segment, but you probably don't want to let people get away completely, so you do have to respond to moves at that point. From the start of the KOM, you have 1.1 kilometers, and it's an average of 8.1%. It is after the KOM start line for the forward, so you hit the red blinking lights on the ground for the New York KOM forward, and then you take a right-hand turn, and then you hit the New York KOM reverse starting line. So don't mistake it and go early. Then once you get all the way up, you'll get a power up and you'll be able to descend. Again, this goes to having a plan with your team. What are you going to do if someone gets away or if someone falls behind? So just having some idea going into it is a good idea for your team, because this is a team race. You descend from the glass bridge at 8.9 kilometers. This is one of those pinch points where it's a good thing to gather speed and then sprint as much as you can over the top of that little tiny hill off the glass bridge. And then you're going to go down the west side of Central Park to the New York Sprint. So it's very lumpy, bumpy. All of New York has tons of ups and downs, and watch your positioning, stay in your pack. Remember, this is a long race, so do what you can with what you have left in the tank. The sprint at 13.2 has a small rise before it, so you have to try to carry as much speed as you can over that tiny bump before the start line of the sprint. The sprint is downhill and only 150 meters. So the more speed you can carry into it, the better off you're going to be. You go around the south side of Central Park and you start going up the east side. You'll hit the lap arch at the top of the Cat's Paw Hill at 15.7 kilometers. And you then will go up to the top of Central Park and you'll climb back up to the glass road at 19.1. That's likely the next selection point for the group, as it is not a segment, but a long, steep segment, not segment, a long, steep point. Once you get up to the glass road, you're going to have the KOM forward starting at 24.4. This is 1.4 kilometers, so longer, but everything is actually covered under the KOM with an average 6.3% grade, and it is one of those stepped climbs where it goes steep and then flatter, steep, flatter. So make sure if you are a high wattage rider that you keep hitting those pedals on the flat parts. After you go down, you're going to hit the New York Sprint reverse right off of the descent. So get whatever rest you can, if you can, on the descent so that you can hit the New York Sprint reverse at 28.1. This is deceptive because it says that there's no grade, but it starts out on a negative grade and then ends on a positive grade. So be careful in your approach, especially if you're in a pack at that point. So after you go through the banner, you'll receive a power up, and you'll keep going up the west side of Central Park, and you'll go all the way to the crossover and back down the east side to the finish. The finish is a little tricky because there's a turn a couple hundred meters before the finish, and it's slightly downhill. So if you are in a pack at that point, just watch your positioning. And good luck, everyone. You can see the sped up recon that Anya recorded after this, and it is a long race. So hopefully you can have some fun, cheer on your team, and try to go out there and bag some points. So good luck. Have fun.